And just quickly checking if we are online. And super. All right. So here we are online. And if you are watching me in YouTube, just give me a hi, hello. I'll open up the chat. Whichever time zone you are in, if you're from India or India, it's too early in the morning. So if you're in other parts of the world, just give me a hi, hello. Tell me if I'm visible, audible. Lovely. Excellent. So today we are on the day 9 of unlocking EQ brain skills for 100 days. And we are discussing about emotional agility. And it's a beautiful skill which can demonstrate clearly about having the left brain and right brain in optimal function, because emotional agility is a clear balance of logic and emotion brain. So without much delay, I'm going to be starting my presentation. But before that, if you are a busy mom and if you're juggling with multiple roles and feeling difficult that you're not able to take smarter decisions, you know, especially during adversities, it is important to stay calm, focus, be in control. Only then you will be able to think clearly. So if you have difficulty in terms of taking better choices, then this is the right skill that you may want to look at it, because it involves, let me quickly share my presentation. Okay. So the first thing is it involves bringing the logic and emotion brain together, which is only going to give you the balance that you don't get ridden by your emotions, neither too logically driven only behind the facts and figures and numbers, and not people oriented. So the balance between process and people is always there. And then will help you stay calm in chaos, which means you must be working on your self awareness more, and also your self care, self needs, in order to understand what is happening within you. You're highly emotionally aware. Only then you can support other people in need. And when you take a decision, it is not only pertaining to you, right? It maybe it is a decision for you that you may have to think short term and long term, whether there is a cost and benefit. If you have people around, if your decisions involving people, then it is a must that you should be able to understand their perspectives too. So you see, there's a clear cut blend of both the left brain and right brain activating at the same time. And this will enable you to be flexible and adaptable, because the more you work on it, the more your brain is allowing you to work on both the sides. It is not the extreme left or it is not the extreme right. So it helps you adapt to the changes quickly without getting stressed. So if you want to transform your stress to strength, this is a key component in emotional intelligence called emotional agility. Okay. So what is emotional agility? Ability to recognize and manage emotions, adapting thoughts and actions to changing situations. Now, how does your left brain is going to help you in this scenario? Is when you're able to logically think for a decision making. Because by when you want to assess a situation, you might use some facts, figures, present situations and future situations. Who are those involved? Are you the only person, or do you have your family or your team or your company is there? You might have to take concern about the market situation, government policies, environment. There are a lot of things that you have to assess, right? Even the risk component in that matter. But if you're overridden, already there is a meltdown or setback is happening, you're in chaos. But if you're overridden more in your emotions, or you're getting swayed by other people's emotion, neither of it is a good place to stay. You need to have immediately you will have to call help from your logic brain, because that is where you will find the neutrality. Okay. So right brain awareness is also important. How? Because a person who's overly driven by only facts, figures, they don't care about people around them. They don't even care about their own emotions. It's going to evidently show up sometime. It's just a matter of time. So emotional awareness for staying calm and flexibility is also needed. Now, how can you determine your flexibility? Through your people around you. You will figure out how many people are even traveling with you. Or are you traveling peacefully with you, within yourself? If you are the problem for your own self, there's something that you have to really check. And if you have problem with other people, there is a measure that you can take. So not always the missing elements comes to your picture, comes to your mind immediately, because these are all the undercurrent that we are working on. These are all intangible things that we are working on. Okay. Now, balancing empathy and logic happens at the same time with this, these skills. That is why it is emotional intelligence skills. Understanding and sharing the feeling of others and applying reason and sound judgment for decision making. Both the ability, you'll have to function well within this capacity, right? Both the empathy and logic has to work for you to be agile in any part of your life, whether you're leading your family, you're cooking, agility can happen even at your family decisions, even for your, let's say you're calling out, for investments for your family, or you want to contribute to your family in some ways. Now you got to decide. So one is there is a calling, there is a need, there could be an emergency or urgency. Another one is to analyze the risk around it, and some pros and cons that you have to weigh. So that cannot override, neither of it can override each other. So if you're in a setback, you need to acknowledge, yeah, something is happening, and you need to work on it to either prepare for it or deal with it at that moment. Emotional agility will help you prepare for any kind of adversities and will help you stay in control during adversities. Okay. So the importance of emotional agility, as I already was mentioning, let's flip the switch to see what happens if we do not have it. So emotion is going to cloud your judgment, cloud your thinking process, focus, attention, and it leads you to impulsive decisions because you're not going to take an informed decision. You don't have patience. Um, Maybe there is a time crunching. It's okay. But if you don't have that calmness in you to assess the situations around you, if you don't have things in control, you may not see the opportunities properly. You may just go with the situation, go with the trend, go with you know, somebody's feedback. You get ridden by some negativity happening there, and you just take an action without even thinking through. Okay. With it, what happens is you are going to be staying flexible, grounded, and balance emotions and logic for sound decision. These components especially come to rescue when there is a setback, meltdown, some chaos. Okay. But not necessarily you'll have to wait for those situations to have these components kicking in you. You can start using this on a daily transactions. That is the reason this series of unlocking EQ brain skills. I always insist any skill that we are talking about emotional intelligence, I always want to decipher which side of the brain are we actually talking about. So by the time you finish the 100 topics, right, you may have more than 100 strategies to activate your left brain, 100 other strategies to activate your emotional brain, right brain. So by then, you would have the capacity to at least be aware of what is needed to be an emotionally intelligent person. Okay. If it makes sense, give me in the comments, give me some thumbs up or show me some love in the comment box because I will understand that it really sinks in you. Because emotional intelligence is not a skyrocket, it is already the wisdom which is lying in us. But how are we going to activate that? The best way is to break it down to left and right brain, uh, because everybody or either taking choices or running their life, even except the breathing, everything else is consciously or unconsciously driven, because certain things which naturally happens that we don't have a control, but what we can control always driven by your brain capacity, right? your intuition, your gut, your health, your focus, your attention. Essentially, what we are actually talking is about the capacity of activating your logical and emotional skills. Okay. On that note, it is very important from if you have been constantly listening to these videos, watching this series, I would recommend you to go to the previous episodes also and start connecting the dots as to why are we essentially emphasizing to look at both the sides when we are approaching or talking about emotional intelligence. This is a fresh perspective, and nowhere we have known that brain skills can actually help you become emotional intelligence. Now, talking about pros of emotional agility, it's going to be an improved decision making for you. If you have the agility in you, that will help you take informed and productive decision making. It is going to help you in flexibility. You will adapt it very quickly without having feeling stuck or feeling overwhelmed. No matter what kind of negativity is going on, you clearly know what you want to do. Better emotional regulation. It's going to help you recognize and manage your emotions, preventing you to take impulsive decisions. Stronger relationship. Communicate effectively and resolve conflicts within your family or within your team. That kind of an understanding. So empathy is a subset or it's a component for you to operate in emotional agility. And it's going to help you become an enhanced leader, inspiring trust by managing emotions of other people also in stressful situations. That is the natural capacity of a leader. Cons of emotional agility. It'll not, if you do not have it, right? What's going to happen is you will be overloaded, especially when there is a setback, when you'll be hit by shock. A lot of people do not know how to react, how to create an appropriate response towards situation or towards people, towards us. We don't know what's going to happen, what is happening within us also. So it is important that you need to have that skill. While it is important, what happens when you overuse this, right? It's going to make you emotionally overload also, because constant emotion management in stressful situations can also lead you to fatigueness. You're tired. How far and how can you concentrate constantly on handling what's happening inside. What is this emotion telling me? And how do I handle this? And why is this person reacting? And how do I handle them? This should not go on autopilot constantly on all the time. This should come only during the time of need. And you shouldn't wait for the time of need. Instead, you should be practicing on a day to day basis. It's like how you're brushing your teeth. You're eating your food without being told so. Those are the ways that you need to look at these skills. It is not something, although you're learning it in the initial stage, until it becomes part of you, you're going to be concentrating on it. That is why we have in our community, we have challenges to make you do. Because if you want to do it all yourself, then it's going to take time. Sometimes we may fizzle out. We may even lose our focus on it because life takes over, and we all need support for each other to remind us constantly, to support, encourage us constantly. It is now becoming even more needed. This kind of an accountability is even more needed right now because we are flooded with social media input, and we are constantly hooked with our mobile. Even our own basic duties have been overridden in the heat of being successful, being informed, being on top of each other, irrespective of any age or gender, wherever the location we are. We're constantly being vigilant and threatened by our own selves, constantly feeling fear of missing out something, fear of insecurity, fear of feeling self-defensive constantly, being self-centered. These are opposite triads for you to allow you to be emotionally intelligent. So these frequencies have to be rewired. And for you to do that, it has to be a continuous basis, daily basis. And for somebody to take care of some habits, make it as an habit on a daily basis, it's difficult right now. That is why we have communities like this, where we take each other accountable. While I'm not responsible for your results, but I'm accountable for your progress. Okay. So that can be done. And I will show you how you can get that support. If you continue to watch this till the end, I'll, disclose some gifts for you. You will by then know how to be part of this. And then it's going to be a little more easier for you to practice. Okay. Now, if you go overboard on emotional agility, it's actually going to slow down the brain process, because reflecting on emotions may delay decisions in high power environments. Because the reason why it says it's called agility, which means high energetic, high energy, high powered, right? The reason why the industry is churning into agility as a key word, because they want performance to be agile, all process to be agile, agile industries, agile technology, everything is becoming agile. And we want to be emotionally agile too, because we want our emotions to help us process decision making faster, which means you should have put that into daily action mode. Because when you wait for setback to happen, you would not know how to take it. Instead, you can prepare and be having the ability to avoid it. You can even have that control and power to say a no, or even avoid that kind of a setback. And that is the reason you got to be proactively being agile. And that too, taking the emotional brain into consideration, because when you say emotional agility, it is not just emotional brain, it is also a logical brain, which is going to help you accelerate your decision making process. Okay. The whole idea is to make you proactive and agile in decision. So you should not overuse anything for that matter. Whichever pulls you down, whichever dulls you, you need to be able to navigate it very quickly. And over accommodating, focusing too much on others' emotions might also lead to make you lose the sight of goals. Okay. You getting swayed by other people's emotions. Maybe, you are too empathetic. You want to listen more and give in more, and all that is going to happen. Neither you will be able to accelerate forward with your team goals, nor you're able to, as an individual, come out of it. Even your self need, your self empathy, kindness to yourself is important. So it's the other way around also, where if you're you know too much on the lines of thinking, what is the benefit for me, what is it in for me, all that I am constantly thinking, I am hurt, I feel this, I feel that, without taking into consideration of what's happening with others or situations, it's difficult for you to quickly navigate and adapt. Now, challenges in implementing this skill. What could be what is stopping us not being agile? One could be fast-paced settings. Is it, we don't have a control on what's happening outside. The world is getting fast-paced, and the social media is making it very fast-paced, and everything is coming to us in the palm of the hand, right? The fingertips. So expectations, the mindset is becoming faster. Nowadays, we're thinking fast also, and we're speaking fast also. We don't have time to listen to others. The children are also pressurized to pick up that speed. We say we don't have time. Hurry up. What do you want? Whatever you want to say, just quickly say. And whatever you want to do, just quickly do. We don't have time, right? It's very harsh truth. We need to pause. We need to take a break, or at least, if not in our conversations, at least in our actions. Whenever we are dealing as a parent, it is important to go, in a controlled pace, considering the child's speed and their capacity. The only thing that can help is active listening. And we have spoken enough about various other undercurrent hacks and strategies from the day one. Okay, it'd be good if you have taken note of all that. And then ongoing practice requires consistent self-awareness, which can be mentally draining. Okay, so instead of having a reaction-based decisions or fatigued decision making, make it a neutral. When you need to switch, when you need to look at the facts and figures, you might want to use the logic brain. And you should know when to come and use when to actually use the emotional brain, where you'll have empathy component in it, emotional insight, adaptability, risk tolerance, perseverance, resilience for that matter. All these works on the other side of the brain. You should be able to switch, right? When in chaos, when in stress, usually these emotional brain are not activated up to that mark. So you will have to be able to be in realistic situations. For you to be acting realist, or thinking realistic, you'll have to switch on to the logic brain. Okay. Then comes, okay, some inspiration for you. Viktor Franklin is an Australian psychologist and neurologist who has conceptualized many theories. He says, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. How beautiful it is, right? The whole aim and or my mission is to help women achieve freedom from time, stress, and debts using emotional intelligence and money intelligence as a tool. So, in order to get your necessary freedom, freedom means what? Freedom can be different for different people. For me, how do I measure freedom? It's not the freedom of, let's say, when we talk about time, it is not that I find enough free time, so I am free. I have full freedom. It's not about having the free time, but what are you doing in that free time? How are you making it meaningful? Suppose I am working 20 hours doing what I love. That itself is a freedom for me. And smartly, you're only working for a few hours and you're earning right at the comfort of your home. That means freedom from stress and time. Because I don't have to travel. I don't need a boss. I don't need to anybody to monitor me. I know the technology. I know my means. I have my knowledge. So I would reach out to people. I would teach them and earn money. So that is smartness, right? Thereby, freedom from time and stress and debts occurs when I use both the emotional intelligence and money intelligence. Okay. It's a topic by itself. But when it comes to this statement, what they essentially means, the brain biologically gives you 6 seconds for you to process those emotions during some stimulus. When I say stimulus, usually they say it's stimulus of understanding, let's say your threat, survival reactions. When you are threatened, basically, maybe an animal like a tiger or something coming in inside our room, which is not going to be the case at all, because that used to be the tribal ancient examples. But right now, no tiger or lion walks into the room. It What we are essentially referring is adversities or setbacks or some situation, market changes, or family dynamics. People just harmoniously shoot up, or just in the conversations, a lot of heated arguments are happening. We react impulsively. We do take decisions impulsively. All these have consequences and residues. During that stressful moments, how are we going to find that freedom, which is appropriate response? Because you need to be free also to think clearly, right? So nobody is going to give you, okay, I'll give you a few seconds, you're free to think. No, that's not how life is going to happen. So we need to create that opportunity to free ourselves up, which means we need to practice our mind to make use of that nature's gift of 6 seconds. You may want to do a research of why the 6 seconds, and there is an organization that I am associated with called 6 seconds. That's where I got certified as an emotional consultant, emotional intelligence consultant. They call their organization itself as 6 seconds because for this reason. So you might want to do a research on that to understand how biologically we have 6 seconds that nature gives us to you know process our emotions and create that kind of a free response that we want to. Okay, whatever is appropriate to the situation. So that is the freedom that we all get, and all these key skills that we are going to be working, balancing your logic and emotion brain, will eventually help you get that time, making you pause and make use of those seconds, those moments, to be present. And being in present is when you're optimally, potentially, fully available for that present moment. Then you're emotionally intelligent naturally. According to your capacity, your experience, your wisdom, you're going to act on it. But all the subset we have been talking, you will, when you are in the present moment, when you know exactly that you have this kind of situations around you and you have this much in your control, you don't have a control, and you are in the present moment, you will naturally be wise enough to take that kind of appropriate response. So, you know, synonymous mindfulness and being in present or taking a pause, these are all synonymous and underrated words. And I would say these are synonymous to emotional intelligence. If you want to be emotionally intelligent, you need to be keep reminding yourself, you need to anchor these words. Okay. Then you will immediately know, okay, which means when you want to pause, that means you need to be present. You need to pause, just take pause. That doesn't mean you're putting off your left or right brain. You're processing, you're taking a pause. And for you to bring that appropriate response after pausing is what essentially we're trying to do. Okay. Now, some statistics. Leadership effectiveness is being measured. Harvard, Business Institute have taken this review study where they said 78 percentage of people, leaders who are emotionally agile, are able to take better decisions during high stress situations. Team performance. Teams with emotionally agile members experience a 20% improvement in collaboration and productivity. And employee retention becomes easier for companies with emotionally agile leaders having 15% higher employee retention rate. And what about our family members? What about the family leaders, the parents, the spouse who's running the family, the elders in the family? What about them? So, how effective were they emotionally agile? Were they so emotionally resilient in order to lead in such kind of financial stress? There could be many children at home. They need to cater them everybody equally. At the same time, managing their own needs and wants. It's a tough thing. It is not necessary, especially when it is an organization setup. I think everything is structured, right? You're actually working in a structured environment. But over there at home, within family, nothing will be structured. At least not expected to be structured. So, and on top of it, you're dealing with people who are in different ages, different gender, different sizes, and different, thought process, different dynamics. No two fingers are also same. It's the same case with the family, right? It demands even more agility for a person to lead a family. So, most underrated responsibilities or most underrated people are the family, homemakers. So my heart goes to those people who are busy moms who are juggling both the roles, or busy dads who are also juggling responsible roles. My heart goes for them, and these are the key components necessary for you to um, be using on an everyday basis. So I just told you who needs emotional agility, apart from professionals who are in high stake decisions and under pressure, parents managing emotions with navigating family challenges. As the child grows and steps into different stages of life, the parents also evolve. So it is a work in progress all the time. It's never like arrived. We never arrive as a parent, constantly evolving. Entrepreneurs dealing with constant changes and uncertainty in business. These are only few examples, but emotional agility is needed for anybody at high stake or going through adversities, even as an individual. You don't need to have any people involved, even by yourself. Now, when it comes to emotional agility in business, how do we apply? Team conflicts. Whenever you have a team, there is bound to be a conflict, at least in terms of sharing their viewpoints, right? So handling emotionally challenged situations without clouding decisions, that is more important. Maintaining the realistic situations or realistic goals. Arriving at realistic goals and winning that on a realistic terms is very, very essential. Not getting clouded, swayed by emotions, thoughts, or even by situation itself, right? Project setbacks, staying calm and focused when discussing challenges, forecasting projects. That's the most crucial brainstorming situations where we have not seen the challenges yet, but we are only talking what if happens, right? Future forecast is always more hypothetical and illusionary sometimes, and it's stressful. Even as a family, right? When you want to plan investment for your life, for your family, it is always an hypothetical situation that we always take into consideration. That is exactly why you need both the logic brain and emotional brain working. Because emotionally, when you're not driven, you may not consider the needs and wants of other people in your family. You may just go with blindly about your own role as a parent, that you know what, I need to save this 10 lakhs for my family, for education, for marriage, for house, all that. But you may not be really aware that what is the current need, or what is the need, realistic need of the person involved in it. Maybe that person is up to creativity. This happens whenever you know, plan a vacation, right? That's the exact that's where the dynamics of family comes into play. Not one place is satisfied by anybody. Everybody will have a missing element in any of the decisions, especially when it is vacation, where it is not of a number game. It is more of an interest game and intention and inclination game. So that is exactly where you will find it very hard to get everybody's decisions there. You need to be even more emotionally agile in simple things like planning a vacation, because it's going to be draining out. Already we plan for an vacation for a relaxation, and over there we, you know, when the situation gets chaotic and stressful, uh, topping the travel and the financial involvement there, it's not going to be a satisfied thing, and we won't be able to repeat it. We won't feel like agile enough to plan for another vacation. Neither the team members, the family members, will be inclined with the same kind of enthu and you know, interest, right? Negotiations, using empathy and strategy to finding solutions. Exactly. This is the most favorite and common topic that we can talk, where in order to plan a vacation in family, it's not going to work when you're logically all the time driven. Of course, for you to plan certain things on the money perspective and the effort perspective, it is true that you need to bring the logic brain. There, if you are overridden by your own excitement and fun and adventure, and you know, making sure your children are happy, your husband is happy, that's not how it will work, the entire thing. If you forget to plan the other stuffs, for example, you're not taking care of the accommodation, something didn't occur, or you didn't plan the route properly, you know, on the way something happens to your Google Map is not working, you've not found the alternate you know, places of accommodation spots, then it's not going to be a peaceful thing. Okay, so it is all the more difficult. And when it comes to official setup, if when you're negotiating with clients and customers, critical high stake you know, projects, if you don't consider the other aspect of it, if you're all the time driven by numbers, then you know, you really have to see whether your team members functionality, you know, controlled, you know, what are the things that you can keep it in control, what are the resources that you have, what are the capacity of the people in your team. All these things have to be, you know, coming on to your mind all the time. And what about your company policy? Is it really something that you can always negotiate? You need to also know the strength and weaknesses of yourself, your team, your company, your environment. Everything has to come in place, right? For which you just cannot expect these things to appear before you, or you need to be aware of all this, not at that moment of stress, not at that moment of tough situations. You need to have practiced. That is way that is how you can become agile, right? So emotional agility in family life, spousal, yeah, disagreements, managing emotionally intense moments while making thoughtful decisions is equally important, so that you don't get swayed by the, you know, heated up emotions already going on. So child behavior, when a child throws tantrum, everything gets shoot up. So responding constructively instead of reacting out of frustration all the time is not going to work. Maybe, reaction, we are also human. It's okay to react in few situations, but you need to be able to know how to bounce back, right? Typically with teenager, anything, everything is going to be shooting up with them. You say something, it'll shoot up. You don't say something, it'll shoot up, right? We hear a lot of stories, especially having a preteen at home. It is important how we are preparing ourselves as a parent so that we are also becoming emotionally agile within us to be able to handle such a teenager tantrum, right? It's not going to be so far. It's just going to be it's a matter of time. So is the case of a toddler. At least with a teenager or a preteen or a young adult can still be communicated, but a toddler will never even understand that what we're trying to communicate. So we'll have to get into their world and get into their language to be able to, even tell them. So it is even more important that a toddler mom has to be rich in vitamin and minerals. So please take enough nutrition, keep yourself, take care of yourself, and be agile. Prepare yourself for your own, health, and because you are needed for the family. Okay. All right. So acknowledging emotions. So this is a right brain skill, and it is equally important when you want to be emotionally agile. I told you emotional intelligence, when we're talking about emotions, um, or the left brain skills, it is not to address only the outsiders or the other people around us. It is also to do with ourselves. When we don't read our own emotions, we're not going to be appropriate in reading others. When we don't sense what's happening within us, if I'm angry, what's happening in me, right? It'll be a total shock. A lot of us do not, generally we don't even go for a checkup, right? Talking about the myth, that is a different topic altogether, but then making a visit for an annual checkup will definitely tell you the status of your internal organs, right? But essentially, when I'm sitting here and working on something, in fact, 2 days before I was preparing something, I just came from a swim, and then I was relaxed and calm and doing something. But then the commitment or finishing within the time has gone inside me. Maybe I was preparing unconsciously by the time I left the pool, and then by the time I traveled and came back home, maybe I was preoccupied. And then when I came and sat here to perform the activity, my watch alarmed me saying, hey, you know what? Your heartbeat is going high. So I was really not sure whether the intense workout that I had done that earlier, just before I came for a presentation here, or the thought of presenting, effectively, or some stress. We don't know. Or maybe it could be the previous incidents happened on that day. Something is constantly going on in us. Thanks to the watch, which alarmed me about it, then immediately I told myself, uh-oh, talking about emotional intelligence, let me concentrate on myself first. I just took a pause, took some deep breathing, closed my eyes, went back to my intention. And, I did a self check-in to understand, okay, what's happening now? Yes, I'm going to be presenting, but that's not the end of the world. And all the more, why am I presenting? It is to impart some skill. So it is even more important to impart that skill within me. Okay. So immediate check-in can happen only when you bring these things in awareness. Suppose I do not know about what's happening. Let's say I don't have a watch. Watch is an external support, no doubt about it. But I should know, when am I panting? I should know, when am I getting triggered? I should know, why am I feeling sad? Sometimes I may be drained for no reason. I will not know unless and until I start reflecting. Because somebody from my own family or from surroundings, I would have just taken a walk or spoken to somebody on the phone. Suddenly some conversation happens that some words or sentence would have just lingering in my mind and then would have, pulled me down. I will not even know. Only when I do a self reflection, when I started writing and working on myself, when I brought all these left brain and right brain skills into my practice on an everyday practice, I started even connecting. So this awareness is what going to help us apply. Because when we want to actually respond appropriately in terms of applying these skills, it's not going to come unless you are practicing it on a daily basis, right? Pausing before reacting. These are some powerful techniques which we are going to discuss. When there is an emotional trigger, when you are facing an emotionally charged situation, pause. Take a moment to breathe and gain clarity. Always remember, biologically it is proved, there is a freedom given. The nature gives us some few moments of freedom to choose wisely. Make use of that. And for you to pause, there's no big strategies. There's no, Google research strategies are there. Just pause. Take a deep breath. You can also do box breathing or do any kind of breathing as long as you're aware of your breath. That's all. For a few seconds. Not going to sleep. It's not for dozing. For some people, when charged situations, there could be some coping mechanisms like taking a nap, right? We're not talking about that. Taking a pause in that heated situation before you want to respond. Okay. You may sit quiet, or you may just take a walk and come back, or actively listen. Maybe mentally you can pause, right? So for you to mentally stop pausing your chatter, it's hard. For somebody who's on autopilot like us, like mother, we constantly keep thinking something or the other, right? When I'm talking here, I may be bothered about what's my next meal, what's the plan for the next meal for my family, or I may be bothered about the calendar invite that I have for the next meeting. So when you're actively listening, when you're practicing your mindfulness, that is what is going to help you pause. Okay. And then what happens after pausing? What is the outcome of pausing? You need to be able to respond appropriately. Okay. So react with a clear mind. I would not even say a word called react. It is always respond. Respond means responsibility, the ability to respond. So when you are acting responsible, you will definitely take into consideration of what's happening within you and outside you. It is not just taking responsibility of what's happening within me, or it is not always outside. It is the combination of both. Okay. Then comes shifting perspective. We have spoken good amount of time on this perspective taking in the first few episodes when we were talking about resilience. Please do watch those episodes. It'd be nice because we have gone depth into it. So when you're shifting your perspective, your left brain is actually activated because you're going to see situations from different angles, not getting overridden by your emotion. Because at that point of time, when you have to take a feedback or see differently, let's say, for an example, your toddler is coming right after school. He or she comes with some anxiety and some curiosity, something going on in them, bubbling with energy, or it could be some emotional stuffs that they want to share with you, right? Maybe you are also in the heated situation with, sitting with the deadlines and something going on with you. So on that perspective, how do you do this shifting perspective? So it is important that you navigate from that, right? So the immediate best thing is to just take a pause and check your intention. Now your child is near you. Before lashing out on the child, you can, even before you want to say something, you can think, okay, the child has come from, what is the situation for them? Maybe they want to share really something. None of See, most of the children are very inexpressive, so it is right now getting difficult for the parent to make them expressive. Not just talking about the toddler, everybody. So when they say something, it's it's better we watch out to them because we get a lot of data points, and especially to understand their perspective, it takes a skill. So understanding your spouse perspective, it's another skill by itself. Before responding in a heated situation, that's the best thing that you can do. But you may have to be, before that, you might have to be working on those muscles day in and day out. Don't forget, it is also important to take your own perspective. What is your point of view there? What is your heart saying, your brain saying, that situation? You need to heed to both, and then your decisions will be an informed decision so that you don't have any regret, any residue. Because at that point of time, that you've considered both the sides, and you've taken that decision and you will live with it. Doesn't matter. At that point of time, it seemed fair, which is okay. But you did have considered both the sides, both within you and outside you. Then it becomes an informed decision. Breaking down complex decisions, it's another important hack, especially when you are in chaotic situations. It is very, very important to break that big problem to small chunks and tackle it one step at a time. Practicing flexibility in thinking, right brain skill will be activated. Okay, breaking down the chunks is the left brain activity, and practicing flexibility is the right brain skill. Shifting from rigid thinking to growth oriented. When there is a problem, always problem oriented is the left brain, because they are the people who find logic to the solution constantly. While it is okay to find logic to the solutions, and as long as it is going to solve the problem for everybody, but it is not recommended to stay with the logic all the time. There has to be not just the process, people should also be considered. For you to consider the people, you need to switch to the right brain to understand their perspective. Only then the solutions are going to be win-win, and it's a solution oriented approach all the time. Approach your difficult work decisions in a completely new way. That is the outcome of being flexible in your thinking. Okay, reflecting on emotional moments. So experience, now there is a stimulus going through an emotionally charged situation, for an example. Now what you're going to do is you're going to reflect, but not always life gives you time. Okay, now you go and reflect and come back. No, that's not how we have situations around us. All these things are mentally activated, and for you to activate something mentally, when you can activate chatter, you know, if you are the one who's allowing the chatter constantly, you will have the choice to allow these things to also happen, so that you don't become autopilot, you become auto responsive, right? Type in the comments. It's autopilot versus auto responsive. I am auto responsive. Okay. If you want to be auto responsive, it is important to apply all these nuggets, like pausing, being mindful, being present, having a perspective shifting and reflecting. All these insights, whatever you've taken down, all these are subcomponents for you to reach to the stage of emotional agility. So we actually broken down the skill of emotional agility. If you follow these steps, it's like a stepping stone for you to become emotional agile. Because it's not a huge thing, it's not a one big thing that I can tell you, okay, this is what it is, this is the size of emotional agility. You eat this, you become emotionally agile. No, that's not how it works. You need to be stepping on a lot of stones for you to reach there. So the learning here is use insights to improve future response. So when you're reflecting, you're actually reflecting not to beat yourself up. Oh, you know what? I did this. I shouldn't have done that. Or I'll take a revenge on this person. That's not the reflection that I'm talking about. You're going to reflect on the patterns, the outcomes that happened. What are the strength and weaknesses in that areas of improvement in that situation? How are we going to tackle that in future? That is operating in agility mode. Emotional agility will be activated when you start reflecting. And logical agility will be activated if you start working on the numbers to find the statistics and all that. You see, there is a difference now. I want you to comment in the chat box that logical agility versus emotional agility. Okay. Engage with the community. That's another thing. I want you to, share your tips on these insights with your community, whether it is friendship or family or volunteer organization or work or with your team member or with school friends. If you're a teacher, you're watching, maybe with your school community. Uh, I'm 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 sure that a lot of things have been, as a teacher you would know better, but if you can insist this awareness on this particular topic or the previous episodes to be taken across, I'll be more than happy. So if you have any doubts, put your questions as comments. I'll offer you some free coaching tips. Okay. But before I leave you, I would like to also, this is my favorite part, where when I do a research on this um, topic, generally on any topic, I pick up a case study, right? Mostly those personalities are very famous and prominent. And I love taking Indian personalities also. And Satya Nadell, this may not be the exact picture of him because it is AI driven. Satya Nadell is an Indian former, I mean, right now is a CEO of Microsoft. So his leadership about being emotional agility, that inspired me. I thought it's very easy for us to relate when I show him his my key learnings about his leadership style. So first thing is the challenge. Microsoft faced significant challenges in adapting to the rapidly evolving technology landscape, especially the AI thing happened when the GPT had been introduced, when there's a lot of churning happening right after pandemic, because the pandemic was the pinnacle time where all the industries had to reform for the upcoming revolution in their respective industries across the world, across the industries. So during such times, or even during other challenging areas where the company was struggling to maintain its relevance and competence with new players in the cloud computing specifically and mobile devices, right? It's almost, you know, it's almost being not seen at all. So that challenging situation, it's a high stake thing, right? Being the giant companies, how heated, how high, professionally adverse driven situations these giant companies would be having. And imagine the leadership over there, right? I always admire and take wisdom from those people. Right now, the social media is booming, but earlier it was only the bits and pieces available. Some inspiration from heard people, from informed people, is where we learn about these people. But right now, it's out there in internet. They are out there in public for a lot of good reasons. So we can always take a advantage of learning from them. Nowadays, leadership driven by emotional agility plays a crucial role in guiding Microsoft towards a growth mindset. He encouraged the culture of openness, empathy, and collaboration, fostering a more flexible and innovative environment. So, his ability to acknowledge emotions and adapt to changing circumstances helped him navigate challenging situations and inspire positive change within the company. So, as a result of his abilities, he and his leadership was able to transform Microsoft into one of the most valuable companies. The company successfully expanded its reach to cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies. This success can be attributed into part of Nadal's commitment to emotional agilities, which enabled him to lead with empathy, adaptability, and forward thinking vision. Vision, by the way, being a visionary, that is also emotional brain driven. Okay. Now, how do I say all this is because um, I have a psychometric tool that I'm associated with from 6 seconds. It's going to drive you to take left brain and right brain talents. So whatever we have been talking about left brain activation, right brain activation, all that you will see in one page or template. So the left brain and right brain top talents will be shown to you. So you will get a personalized report for yourself when you take the questionnaire, and it's a psychometric report. So it's a AI driven, globally accepted. Even if you think you can like to tick answers which are not very true about you, the AI will pick up. Okay. So if you're interested, I'll tell you exactly in few minutes how you can get those reports. But for now, we have spoken enough about emotional agility. If you're wondering whether you have that ability in you or not, you could be a mom who's taking care of the family. You could be a women entrepreneur taking care of your business, or you could be a employee, professional, juggling family and work life. Doesn't matter. If you want to be aware of this component of emotional intelligence, you can take the awareness quiz. This is specific to emotional agility. It is all a subset of this larger link. It is giving you Not just emotional agility, it is also going to give you 100 other topics awareness quiz. It is all coming to you free of cost. Okay, how's that? It's coming to you as a complimentary because you are here watching this episode and participating. That is more important. But how do I know that you have participated? Because outside public, when you go to my website, it'll be for a particular cost. But I'm going to give it to you free of cost. But you will have to just do one thing for me. Okay. All you have to do is you will have to put this in practice. Okay. Because if you don't apply something that you have been made aware of it after today, when we talk about emotional agility, so you cannot unsee or undo certain things after today, because especially when you have gone through this episode till now, and it only means that the next step is for you to practice emotional agility. When you are putting into practice, you have to ask yourself whether you can stay balanced when facing uncertainty or change. And then, do you apply lessons from your past emotional experience to future decisions? Like this, there are a lot of invoking questions that you can find here in this quiz. So, that is the reason I want you to take this awareness quiz. And for you to take this awareness quiz at no cost, all you have to do is first thing is you got to subscribe to my channel. This 100 days of live is going on in YouTube with presentation. If you're a visually oriented person, you can watch this presentation, come discussion on YouTube live. If you're an auditory person, you can listen to the same topic in a very concretized version on Spotify. And if you are a person who wants to enjoy Reels and LinkedIn for professional connections, and also Substack as a medium where it is showing you an article format of EQ based skills in a very storyfied format for busy moms. So I will be giving you a story related. Every day, one story will come to you where it'll tell you this is the importance as to why we say emotional intelligence is needed for busy moms. Okay, for all those channel links, I will be giving in the description. I want you to subscribe there and share your just top three learnings. That's all. It could be even bullet points, but I want you to really see that you've taken that step. Okay, if you have done that, I'll be able to see that as comments and immediately pick you up and send an email to you with a free coupon code. Thereby, you're going to get this awareness bundle free of cost. And also, I will give you an invite to my upcoming workshop that is going to be a workshop driven only for women. It's going to happen on Sundays, but in the description, there is a meeting link which will tell you which Sunday and what timing. There, when you come, I'll be opening up the one pager report that I was talking to you, that you can literally see left brain and right brain skills, the talents that is needed. And I'll in that masterclass, I'll tell you what is the secrets to activate that. Apart from these topics, you will also get to know what is the secret to get that reports when you come and attend the masterclass. All right. So for you to continue to be emotionally agile, it is a journey. So first thing is to be aware, recognize the importance of agility, which we exactly did. If you have attended this 50 60 minutes of presentation, you are done. Awareness is already in you. The wisdom is in you. You have to do the next one as to develop these skills through practice and reflection. It is up to you. I've shown you the water. It is up to you to drink it if you want. And then apply it using emotional agility in daily life for better decisions. Oh, how can you measure? How do you know that you have this emotional agility already? To see whether your decisions are taken smartly. Is it working for you and for other people wonderfully well? And are you getting ease by taking those decisions? If you find a pattern that you are already becoming very good at decision making, that means you're already there, emotionally agile. Because remember, emotional agility needs the blend of both logic and emotion. And if you have understood and enjoyed this process of learning, give me a love and support by subscribing to this channel and give me your comments there. As your learning comments, like whatever you've learned so far, that itself is a sign for me to move forward. Until I see you tomorrow with a new skill set, I want you to use this awareness skill quiz. I also want you to put down your learnings and stay resilient.